All right, free radicals and other folks who have decided to rubberneck and take a look at what this channel is all about. My name is Dave, and thanks for tuning in. I'm just an average guy who decided to start uploading videos, many of them talking about Tulsi Gabbard. Why is it in the media that the only place where Tulsi Gabbard can get a fair shake, and I'm talking about mainstream media, I'm not talking about independent media. I mean, you got Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kulinski, you can go down a list of people that I believe are good and faithful to the process and who would certainly give Tulsi Gabbard a fair shake. But why is it that Tucker Carlson, of all people, and by the way, this doesn't endear Tulsi Gabbard to places like TYT and MSNBC and all of these usual suspects when it comes to propping up the neoliberals. Why is it that Tucker Carlson asks good questions of Tulsi Gabbard? And why does he allow her to speak freely? This is actually a campaign spot. And look at this. Look at the headline that gets run. I mean, at this point, Tulsi Gabbard may just be a kamikaze pilot. She's just flying right in. She's just saying, okay, I don't really care at this point, so I'm just going to go right in. And this headline comes up, are the Democrats rigging the primary again? And they are. Of course they are. And what you can't say in the Democratic Party is the Democrats are rigging the primary again. You're not allowed to say that. But here it is in a campaign spot. Let's listen to this because it's a short spot. It's about 2 minutes, a little less than. And I will do some commentary.
Tell me if I'm misstating this. The DNC is refusing to recognize as valid polls that would qualify you for the next debate.
Here's a situation. There's a whole bunch of different polls that have come out. The DNC has only recognized some of them as being qualifying polls for the debate. The whole thing gets a little bit confusing, and you've got to jump way down into the weeds of the numbers and the statistics. But I think the bigger problem is that the whole process really lacks transparency.
Right.
People deserve having that transparency because ultimately it's the people who will decide who our Democratic nominee will be and ultimately who our next president, commander-in-chief will be. And when you see that lack of transparency, it creates, a lack of faith and trust in the process. And I think this also points to a bigger issue and challenge that goes beyond the DNC and party politics is the government itself.
Right.
There's people who are increasingly losing that faith and trust in the government because they see a lack of transparency there. They see that we don't have a government that is of, by, and for the people. And really what they see is a small group of really powerful political elites, the establishment, making decisions that serve their interests and maintaining that power, while the rest of us are left outside. The American people are left behind. So these are the deeper-seated issues that I think it's important that we recognize, and that for me as president that I would seek to change, that we'd actually fulfill that vision that our founders had for our country of having a government that is truly of, by, and for the people, and making it so that people can trust that our leaders are listening to them and making decisions not based on partisanship, but based on serving their interests.
All right, there you go. There's a part of me at this point that is saying to myself, she's just too nice. She's just too nice. She's too diplomatic. Even the way, if you look at her facial expressions during this video, she's smiling too much. She's too happy about being exiled. Like right here. Because I'm thinking back watching this spot, and it's like, yes, you want to put on a happy face, but the corruption doesn't make me smile. And as a Tulsi supporter, I know she's going to fight, and I know she's truly living and she truly embodies the Aloha spirit. I get it. I understand that. But man, oh man, I'm thinking to myself, I couldn't be smiling. I'd go on with Tucker Carlson and say, you know what? Here I am. The headline is, are they rigging the primary again? You've got this on your commercial. Do you think Elizabeth Warren would ever do a video demeaning the Democratic Party in any way? Even sort of backhandedly? No way. And I don't even think Bernie Sanders would do it. And Bernie, Bernie was a good boy. See, this is the thing about Bernie. Bernie decided to go and endorse Hillary Clinton. And he did, I'm sure, pull votes for Hillary Clinton. He probably pulled a lot more votes for Hillary than anyone else within the Democratic Party. I mean, legal votes, not like Debbie Wasserman Schultz votes, which are probably, boxes being stuffed with ballots and then mysteriously showing up in a car somewhere. Well, we forgot these. We better count these. I don't know how you do it if you're Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know how you keep smiling. I look at this and I think, and I've done videos about this where I say I think she's too good for us. I think she's living out almost like a Christ. I know she's a Hindu, but she's living out, let's just put it this way, she's living out a very faithful religious lifestyle where she truly lives by a code, a moral code, which I don't think any other politician, who's in the White House now? I mean, this is the opposite of that. This is somebody who is in the face of being pooped on. It's a way of saying it, I guess. She's decided to smile, be of good cheer, and continue. And to just delicately point out the corruption. Now, here's the problem with that. We've reached a stage where delicately pointing out the corruption is no longer effective. We did that in 2016. In fact, some of us aggressively, if you were there and you didn't vote for Trump and you decided that you were going to, vote for Jill Stein or whatever you did, all right, you probably did more than just delicately point out the corruption. We've reached a point now in our discourse where if you're just in this to kind of fold like a cheap tent, then you really weren't in it. You don't understand what's at stake. Here's what's at stake in the country. A growing military-industrial complex. Why do you think I actually watched a Howie Hawkins video? All right, if you don't know who Howie Hawkins is, go check it out. I know there are other candidates running in other parties, but when he talks about reducing the military down to $250 billion, that's like some sort of political drug for me. All right, I'm thinking to myself, really? I mean, how could we run the military? Oh, we could. We could run the military on that, especially if we focus on just protecting the homeland and not going to, 800 different places throughout the world. Currently, that's what we're doing. And bringing that money back home. And that would be a yearly budget of an extra, $750 billion or at least $500 billion that could come home. You want to talk about a Green New Deal? You want to talk about infrastructure? It could all get done. So that's what's at stake, number one. Number two, as she talks about integrity, transparency, corruption. Jill Stein talked endlessly about corruption. She knew that people of different viewpoints on issues might come together more if you're talking about corruption because it's a universal problem within both political parties and society in general, especially capitalism gone crazy. The rich get richer, and rather than doing good things for society, they do bad things, or they keep the money. And, there's a country somewhere where they don't have clean water. They don't have running water. You think some philanthropist somewhere would say, hey, this ain't right. Let's do something about it. Or these inner cities that are becoming literal hellholes here in the United States because many times, most cases, it's a Democrat who runs the city, and they have a plan. They keep one half of the city over here and in squalor, and what they do is they keep a nice place for their friends that can go to the opera and the orchestra and a rock concert here or there. They can keep those things separate, and the people can suffer over here. Let's just try to contain them. We don't want to fix the problem because we need those people to come back, and we need to keep having them vote for us. We're going to keep promising them things, and we're not going to deliver on it. So all of those things are at stake. I mean, you need a comprehensive, big-time FDR moment in the country. And nobody's really promising. Bernie's trying, but Bernie, I think, is going to fold. Or, even before he folds, he's going to get pooped on. Now, Tulsi gets pooped on. Bernie's going to get pooped on. You basically, if you're a kind of a progressive independent, you have to be ducking and dodging and making sure you're not going to get pooped on because it's going to happen. And then the media, of course, even prior to that, the media will continue to marginalize you. What? You're not for endless war? What? You're for ending corruption? Well, corruption is how we get ratings, Our job is to point out corruption and then really, be part of that corruption. Just make up entire news stories and giant narratives. Howie Hawkins needs to get that point, by the way, because he's into that media narrative. I mean, of all the media narratives to embrace, please don't embrace the Russian collusion thing, because eventually you're going to be called a Russian bot. And then as soon as people get to know who you are, they're going to say, here's another one, Vladimir Putin. Yeah, okay, sure. Can you believe this stuff? It's going to happen. And through all of that noise, many Americans just decide to unplug and say, nope, political stuff. We got a hurricane coming here in Florida. You think anyone's worried about the campaign down here right now? Nope. They don't care. They're trying to protect their families. And by the way, we need a president who is going to be proactive when it comes to national tragedies and things like that, and not reactive. We need somebody who's going to empathize with people in Puerto Rico, in Florida, and anywhere that gets hit by these things, because I lived through one of them already, and I can tell you, 2 weeks without water and power and air conditioning, which here in Florida, it's a really big deal this time of year. I mean, you can suffocate. It's that hot. So, in any event, I wanted to put out this video because I almost think that Tulsi Gabbard at times she's got the right mix of everything. But it's almost as if nice isn't what we need. And maybe nice is what we need in theory. Let me try to be succinct here. She is the perfect candidate because she does have this spirit of aloha, good cheer, love, like true love. She's got it. She wears it. She demonstrates it all the time. Our country, though, needs a slap in the head. And a lot of times that's why people like Bernie, because he's more like rough around the edges. But I think when push comes to shove between Bernie and Tulsi, Bernie will fold even though he's rough around the edges. Whereas Tulsi will continue to smile as she continues to try to take you down. And that's what she did to Kamala Harris. And I think she would have had a great opportunity with fewer candidates on stage. And that's what they were afraid of. More people would see her, and now what do we do with her? What do we do with her now? It's just her and 6 other candidates. What are we going to do? We can't have her up there. She'll dismantle Elizabeth Warren. I mean, look, I think Tulsi Gabbard, I don't know if she would do it, but I think she'd go after Bernie Sanders at this point. She would. She'd do it gently. She'd say, Bernie, I'm a little concerned because last time you went and endorsed Hillary Clinton for president. And we got Donald Trump. Yikes. That would have been the zinger, and that would have made a lot of Bernie people go, she's right. She's right. Is she too nice? I don't know. I don't know what it is. But there's something about her that even though she's the best candidate out there, nice right now with the political climate. Here's the thing. Nice is what we need, but the question is nice effective? And that's really where I'm at, and I'm not sure it is. Good for her, though. She went on Tucker Carlson, and again, Tucker Carlson gives her a fair shake, as usual. And the headline here, you probably won't see that headline on MSNBC or CNN or TYT anytime soon.